Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Everyday EDC. Today is your first semi-final round, one of the Quest for King Civivi. As you guys know, who have you been following me with the tournament thus far, what's left in the Quest for King Civivi are these knives right here. With authority, we have the Civivi Aquila or Aquila, whatever, the Civivi Dogma, the Civivi Praxis, and the Civivi McKenna. There's been a lot of knives that tried to put up a fight. These are the ones that made it through and made it through alive. Watch my quarterfinals. If you don't watch any of these, the quarterfinals were actually pretty good. They were a lot of stiff comparisons between knives, and it surprised me the way some of these went. Let's jump right into the first two to go against each other. Now, the way that I did the first two again in the semifinals, once again, I wanted to compare apples to apples, okay? So, the Civivi Dogma and the Civivi McKenna are going against each other. Now, these are less apples to apples, but they both have a much slender profile. They have a very easy carry to them. And yeah, they're both the same color. And then we have the Civivi Aquila and the Civivi Praxis. I tried to keep these similar so that the final is just the best of the best. It's not just one because the other one was just a different shape. You know, I want to compare these as we get further into this with the apples to apples comparisons. Jumping right into this, our first round, the Civivi Praxis versus the Civivi Aquila. Don't watch that other video that I sucked at that. And then I failed at a flipper tab. So, as everybody knows, these are graded on aesthetics, ergonomics, quality, feel, fidget factor, blade shape, and blade just overall usage, carry profile, and last but not least, value. Jumping right into these, aesthetically, I'm not even going to fuck around with this one. This thing looks stupid. The Aquila looks dumb. It is never going to win in aesthetics for me. I hate the look of this knife. I love the feel of it. I hate the look of this knife. This knife aesthetically, the Praxis, looks great, and it looks, like I said, like a bodybuilder. This guy kind of reminds me of, who can I compare this to? This guy kind of reminds me of a cheerleader. That's shitty. But the cheerleader chicks, they like they're muscular in their legs and everything, or maybe a softball player, right? Because a softball player, they got really big thighs. It's kind of a girlier looking thing to it. Maybe that's misogynist, whatever. That's not how it was meant to be. You guys get it. Football player, and we'll say golfer. How about that? All right, so the aesthetics, I'm hands down, that's going to the Praxis. The Praxis looks great. The Aquila looks stupid. So, writing down some notes here. Yeah, that's what you're getting out of that. I'm just going to cut the bullshit. You've already heard me give the same spiel for all these if you watch my previous videos. I'm not going to make this super dramatic. It is what it is, and it's looking at it objectively, and I think 99% of you would probably agree with me on this one. Moving on, ergonomics. This thing's ergonomics are effing great. This is probably some of the best ergonomics out of any Civivi that's out there. This has great ergonomics. Unfortunately, for the Praxis, they're not as good as the Aquila. Now, can I feel the meat in my hand like this? And the hammies feel great? Yes. The choke-up position feels good? Yes. The choke-up position on this rivals that of my Manix 2, guys. It feels awesome. The regular feeling on it, I still got this to push on to kind of get some. Hey, the ergonomics are going to this Aquila. That's not a hands down win. That is we'll call it a win by a couple seconds, right? It's not, in football we'll say it's a win by a field goal. It's just, it is what it is. Quality feel. Now, this is also subjective because they're both Civivis. My Praxis, which I've used, is still centered just fine. My Aquila, which I've carried for a week, but didn't get too much usage out of it, but I played with it like a mother. Dude, my fucking references suck today. These are just awkward. So, the quality feel, the Praxis for $42, and I shouldn't bring out the value on this yet, but I never once felt like this was a cheap knife. When I opened the box for this thing, something about it felt cheap to me. I don't know. And I know this has the same G10 backspacer that this has, but when I closed it, and I closed it hard the one time, you idiot. Okay. Moron. When I did that the first time, and when I started fidgeting with it, it just feels cheap. The sound feels cheap. There's something about it that feels cheap to me. That's not meaning that the knife is cheap itself. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying the feel, it just reminds me of something that feels cheap. So the quality is going to the Praxis, and it's a feel. This is kind of an aesthetic, subjective view, especially comparing Civivi to Civivi. I'm sorry about that. But realistically, I don't feel like the Aquila feels like a quality feel. I've never said that it did. That being said, in your hand, it feels great, right? Like the ergonomics and the feel of it there feels great. But when you're trying to compare, quality, it just doesn't feel the same. So the Praxis is getting the quality feel. Fidget factor. Well, now we're going back and forth because the fidget factor on this guy is friggin' awesome. I talked about this thumb hole in a previous video. I love this thumb hole. It's got the flipper tab. It doesn't have as much of a drop shutty feel as the Praxis because the Praxis blade is huge. And the Praxis feels great to fidget with too, don't get me wrong. But you can accomplish way more with the fidget factor on the Aquila. So just to let you guys know, they're tied right now. Aesthetics and ergonomics, or aesthetics and quality feel are going to the Praxis. Ergonomics and fidget factor are going to the Aquila. Now, I said before, and I'll say it again, I have no idea which one of these are going to win. Even looking at this, I don't know. And that kind of stresses me out, because I feel like if I knock out the Praxis, I'm going to be hung and fucking castrated in YouTube. But that's not affecting my decision. I'm just saying, it kind of makes me a little freaked out, right? And let's see if we can angle this there so it doesn't look so crooked. You prick. So, blade. The Praxis has one of the best blades out of all the Civivi lineup. It is meaty. It has this leaf-shaped style blade, even though it's not a leaf shape. It's drop point and this huge thing, maybe spear, whatever you call it. But they're both I don't know. This is 9CR18. Oh, yeah, I gotta consider that too. This is 9CR18 MOV. This is VG10. Oh, shit. So, the Praxis, I love this blade shape. I love the usefulness of this blade. And I love 9CR18 MOV. But if you were to compare 9CR18 MOV versus VG10, what are you really getting? Which one wins? VG10 is going to take that down almost hands down, Now, does that mean that the blade is better? No, I like the blade shape and the usefulness of this blade over this blade. Now, but the problem is they're very close. And I have to resort to the blade steel to some extent when I'm talking about the blade. And the VG10, even though it's DLC coded and that's fucking stupid, the VG10 has to win it for me. I want to say the Praxis because I love the Praxis's blade. But they're both, the usefulness on both of these blades is so similar. This one has a more dainty tip. This one doesn't have a dainty tip. But, this is also VG10 and this is 9CR18 MOV. I mean, shit. Nah. I gotta give the blade to the Aquila. I don't necessarily want to. I think I like the blade on the Praxis better. But not enough to trump the VG10. And I hope that makes sense to you guys. It doesn't trump it. And I know that's more of a value situation, but you're talking about blade, you gotta talk about steel and fucking shit. Yo. All right, so we're giving it to the Aquila. I'm not even gonna talk about it no more. Fuck it. Moving on to carry. Carry profile. The Praxis kind of sucks. It's a deep carry, just like the. Well, no, it's a deep carry, so it's got the Aquila beat there, but size of the blade. Let's see here. It's not blade, but size of the knife. Same thing. So, okay, are we special today? You guys are seeing me fidget to shit with this. They're actually. Let's try to get the right angle because looking at them through the camera, the Praxis is like decimating it with that extra blade. That's probably the right angle right there where you can barely see it. And the length, okay, we're done trying to hold it like that. The length, actually, the Praxis is a tiny bit shorter due to this stupid lanyard hole at the end of this Aquila. So, carry, not deep carry, deep carry. Like I said before, not much matters there, but we're talking about carry, so that's where it has to play a role. I have to give it to the Praxis, but like I said about other things, the Praxis is never going to win a fucking carry. I mean, it's in this particular instance, in the moment, I feel like the Praxis does because they feel like they're just as tall as each other. And this is slightly longer with this little pointy thing at the end. This is more rounded kind of contours. As you can tell, I'm talking myself into this. I feel like the Praxis, both these carries are... I'm going to give it to the Praxis. Deep carry pocket clip, and it doesn't have this pointy thing at the end. Yeah, final answer, Praxis. Giving the carry to the Praxis. But again, that should almost be a tie if it wasn't for the deep carry pocket clip. They're kind of the same thing as far as carry-wise. The Praxis is a lot heavier. Not a lot, but you can feel it. I'm sticking with my Praxis. Moving on. Just because. I have to pick something there. I think under some other circumstances I might give it a tie, but in this particular instance I can't. And I don't feel that, you know, you can overlook the little things at this point in time. So the carry's getting it. Enough of my rambling. Rambled on for like 2 minutes about the stupid ass carry there for two knives that don't have great carries. Value. Here we go. This is going to be harder than it looks because the Praxis is coming in at a whopping $42, which is freaking great for what you're getting there. The Aquila, I looked it up on Blade HQ right now. I think it's because they're trying to get rid of other models. It's coming in at like 59. I think I got it for like 64 when I bought it. The Aquila, for $20 more, you're getting VG10. That's kind of a titanium pocket clip. I don't think that that's worth $20. I apologize for those of you that do, but this titanium pocket clip, I would rather have a freaking deep carry, to be honest. This doesn't add any value to me when we're talking like this about things that are so close. The titanium doesn't add any value to me. The VG10 does, but to me, would I rather get a Praxis, beat the shit out of it, and go buy another $42 knife? Somehow $42 feels way more guttable than $60 or $65. I apologize, it kind of does. So, I mean, value-wise, you don't get a better value than the $42 Praxis. I got to kind of go on record and say that. I don't think you get a better value in the Civivi lineup than this. This kills it. So if you guys weren't keeping score, the Praxis just took it down with that last one. We have 4 for the Praxis, 3 for the Aquila. Aesthetics, quality feel, carry, and value. But here's the unique thing. If I was going purely off of, I guess, useful or usage of the knife rather than looking at it from the collector's point of view, look at what the Aquila won. The Aquila won the ergonomics. The Aquila won the fidget factor. And the Aquila won the blade based on the freaking VG10. That might give you guys a little insight as to how good this knife actually is. The Aquila really is a great budget knife. Unfortunately, to dethrone the Praxis, you got to do more than that. This guy's a beast, and it should be. You know, this thing deserves where it's at because this is a badass, straightforward, just awesome knife. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been Everyday EDC. Stay sharp. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'm mixing up the sign-off. Just have fun, guys. Live your life. That type of stuff. What the hell am I talking about? Stay sharp. Stay safe. Stay out of Corona. You know, all that shit. Have a good day.